Now, the report release dates. Per SAS, auditors of non-issuers have 60 days after the report release date to complete the final audit file. So this has to do with the actual final deliverable of this, right? What the point of these sentences are saying is that you can continue to work on the file after you've submitted your opinion, right? After you're technically done because you gave them their deliverable, you have to finalize that final audit file, but you can continue to work on it, clean it up. I have been on an audit where we worked up until the deadline. We were there up until midnight. I mean, you hear stories too about, because of time differences, teams, whether it's tax teams or audit teams, will send work to the Hawaii office because they're very much in a complete, they're just a few hours behind. So that's what could happen there up until the deadline. But then once you hit your deadline, you technically can't work anymore on it. Well, you can still clean up the final audit file, finalize it, deal with all of that. But again, there is a deadline for completing the audit. For PCAOB, also, you have 45 days after the report release date to complete the final audit file. That's just cleanup. Those are some dates to memorize there for the exam. The report release date is when the auditor grants the client permission to use the report. So that's like you're working up to the deadline. You issue the opinion, email it over. You say, here you go. You now have permission to say that you have an unmodified opinion on your financial statements. After this time period is passed, no deletions can be made to the documentation until the retention period has passed. So essentially it's locked, right? 45 or 60 days after the report release date, it's locked and no one can go in, delete anything, anything like that until 7 years or 5 years is up. After that, you can delete whatever you want, modify whatever you want, do all that. Now, you can go in and add things, right? You can add something essentially what the whole point here is, hey, if you find something valuable that you think would help the documentation, sure, add it. However, you need to make sure you put notes, and generally that could look like a sheet of post-finalization additions or modifications. And it would say, okay, this is 180 days after the report release date, so well past that 60 or 45 days, and I added something. This is me typing notes, saying I added something to the file because I thought it was important, right? I got additional information, additional clarification on a type of investment they had, or certain, maybe the economy took a hit or something, and you want to kind of bolster an estimate or judgment that the client made based on that additional information. The audit report release date is when the retention period begins. Generally, this is the date when the report is delivered to the client and when the client is legally allowed to begin using the report and opinion. Drilling that down. So per PCAOB standards, an auditing firm cannot give the client permission to use the report until the engagement quality reviewer provides concurring approval of issuance, meaning you need to have it reviewed for quality, make sure the engagement was done in a respectable and proper way before the client can get access, before the client is approved to use that opinion. Lastly, the earliest date for an audit report is the date that the auditor has obtained sufficient appropriate audit evidence to support the opinion. These lines, phenomenal to know. Many multiple choice questions will be asked on these. So that is the earliest date for the report. And that's up to you. We'll talk about that in audit evidence, right? Professional judgment. If once you believe you've obtained sufficient appropriate evidence, and there are hard and fast metrics for if you have obtained enough evidence, but also, you definitely need to take that into account. That is the earliest date you can issue that audit report.
Hey there! Are you ready to not only pass your CPA exams, but truly understand and enjoy the material while studying? I know it seems impossible, right? Especially to enjoy the material? We'll do it together. Tap into the power of CPA.examprep.ai, where we've got personalized quizzes, multiple choice questions, memorization guides, flashcards, simulations, all tailored to your learning. Our adaptive study planning puts you on the fastest path to success and lifts you back up if you fall behind. Avoid wasting your precious time and money attempting an exam with a low chance of passing, because who wants that? We want to get you through this process as quick as possible. Our exam readiness prediction lets you walk in with confidence, knowing that you're prepared for success on exam day. Thankfully, there's no payment method needed to get started. So why don't you come join us? Visit cpa.examprep.ai and let's achieve your exam success together.